Hi there folks, welcome back to Rich Review. So in the latest of films that didn't get a wide release in theaters, didn't make much money, or found their way onto the internet, the latest of these is a documentary film called Studio 54. And if you think to yourself, this is about the legendary dance club, nightclub, Studio 54 obviously. And there was a film in the late 90s, less said about that film the better. This is based on Schrager's memories of 54. Rubel obviously has died. He and Rubel grew up in lower middle class neighborhoods, and they quickly became friends in college. Of course, he went on to do steak restaurants, and he obviously wanted to become a lawyer. And they decided, okay, yes, let's open up our own nightclub. And how at one point he says it costs over $400,000 to get the place running. Of course, they have the silent partner there with him, and he says this silent partner says it costs nearly double that to actually run the club, which is like, wow, I can never imagine spending $800,000 on a nightclub just to get it operational. That is really interesting information. Also in this documentary, you get to talk to a lot of the workers who went into making the nightclub a success, like the lighting people, how, quite frankly, look, this place only ran for a little less than 3 years. It's now, Schrager goes back to the club now, which is now like a theater, obviously a Broadway theater, I guess. When Rubel and Schrager opened this place in '77, let's largely face it, this place is in the seedier part of town, particularly for New York, how it was in a former CBS television station area. Talk about who got into the club, and how there's a group list for each people who should be allowed to come in, and hey, basically, if anyone was anyone, they could get in. Considering the fact that, yes, polyester didn't mesh well, and I guess Rubel's interview basically saying, hey, look, if you had a Hawaiian shirt, that was also great. Now, disco music transformed relatively from the gay subculture, even black gay subculture, into the mainstream, particularly with Saturday Night Fever. And when it opened, it was the talk of the town, and how who was there? Andy Warhol, Mick Jagger, Liza Minnelli, even our current president, who doesn't, they don't interview any of these people. And also how the fact that, yes, it was democracy on the dance floor, up in the balcony area, making out, the occasional hand job, blow job, down in the basement area, yeah, gay sex was happening, because this club attracted all sorts of types of people, and how this was really a big, sort of nearing the end of sexual liberation in the early days of AIDS. So what got Rubel and Schrager in trouble? Well, they skimmed, and according to one FBI agent who was inside the case, most normally in skimming cases you skim 10 to 20%. Rubel and Schrager were skimming almost 80%, which is almost unheard of. They skimmed like almost $2 million. Basically, these kids had a hot molten thing on their lap. They didn't know what to do with it. They clearly had to go to jail for tax evasion. And of course, early on in the proceedings, Roy Cohn was their lawyer. Oh yes, and who happened to be also the lawyer for Donald Trump at one point. The night before that Rubel and Schrager go to jail, they have one big bash out with everyone there to celebrate their way going to prison, which I think is really, wow, that is amazing. I think what this documentary does best is to show you a portrait in time. Frankly, these two people were young, they were inexperienced of how to handle a nightclub, and it got to their heads, and there's a touch of sadness in Schrager's memories. Eventually got pardoned by Obama in the last days of his administration, and how Rubel never came out of the closet, and his mother always wondered, why didn't my son get married? And basically, everyone's like, well, your mother is last to know that you're gay. So again, there's a lot of footage here that is wonderful footage to see. It is amazing to see all these people back in their prime before everything happened to them, and to see these people years later talk fondly about that. I think, quite frankly, I have loved to have been there. The director here clearly does an adequate job of showing the preceding events, and how, look, New York back then was a crummy place. Now, when it comes also to transsexuals, they were liberated in that place, but out on the streets, they took their lives in their own hands. Rubel and Schrager, they got out of prison. They had to adjust to life outside of prison, even though, quite frankly, they all think to themselves, okay, we can just, we'll happily go out of prison, make our lives full of it. But no, of course, you can't vote. You're a convicted felon. You'll have a hard time getting loans. You have a hard time people trusting you again. Bill figures that out, and so does Schrager. And Bill died, got into the hotel business, and so I'm going to say here about Studio 54, I'm going to give this a matinee rating, because quite frankly, this is just a very pleasant film to watch. Studio 54, have you seen it? Have you seen the Mike Myers Rebel 54 film? As always, folks, like, comment, subscribe, enrich yourself with knowledge. I'll see you next time, folks. Yes,